right, everybody, welcome back. How'd it go? Y'all having fun already? You seem like you're getting the hang of it. That's awesome. Hey, if we're going to talk about what it is we do, we have to understand what the church in the New Testament does. The ecclesia, the called out ones, the assembly of God. If someone from space were to come to earth today and they knew nothing about Christianity, and we just handed them a Bible and said, hey man, just figure out what do you see in there? Here's some things they would probably figure out. Number one, biblical Christianity happens together. Biblical Christianity happens together. That's the way it was right from the start. Okay, so Jesus got his disciples. That becomes 70. That becomes 120. They're in the upper room. Then overnight, Peter preaches a sermon. Then it's 3,000. But it's always together. That's why Jesus said it's his new commandment. John 13:34, Last Supper, he says, new commandment I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you're my disciples if you have love for one another. Jesus ties the understanding that we belong to Jesus to our love for one another. Jesus wants us to follow Jesus with other people. It's really important, yo. There's a power in our witness when we're loving one another. He really didn't mean for us to just have a do-it-yourself version of Christianity. That do-it-yourself version would be unfamiliar, unrecognizable to the people of the New Testament. It was always together. I think there's two reasons for it. One is when we just love somebody on our own, and I'm sure there's lots of loving people here, there's lots of loving people watching online. You know this. You've seen when somebody's just kind of loving on their own. You've seen them at work. You've seen them at class. And it's like, wow, they're really loving. Maybe they're just weird, you know? Like this guy's into trucks, you know, that lady's into stamps, this person's into loving people. Maybe they're just strange. They're just strangely loving. But when you see a culture of people all loving one another, it's like that's more than just strange, that's attractive. I see the way that they're intentional with one another. I see the way that they take care of one another. That's a harder thing for me to make sense of unless there's something else going on there, something from heaven. Here's another reason though. When we embrace do-it-yourself alone Christianity, here's what tends to happen. It tends to produce pride because number one, no one's asking us anything about our conclusions. We can get really haughty and think we kind of know everything. But in addition, we begin to trick ourselves into thinking Christianity is about believing the right ideas rather than it's about a commitment to one another to see Jesus formed in one another. One's about a commitment to, I have the right thoughts. The other one is, I have a commitment to a people. That's why we want to ask here at Fierce that your commitment is not to just Christian thoughts, not to Christian ideas, it's to one another. It's a spiritual family. It's saying, I'm in it for you, not just for me. We can't really be committed to the idea of following Jesus without being committed to following Jesus with one another. Can we hear that? Okay, so some of you probably know what a flash mob is. You've seen this before. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of a strange public interactive theater show choir happening that goes on, okay? It could be in a mall, it could be like just in a street. What usually happens is somebody starts it. They just start to dance or they just start to sing. And you would look at them and you'd be like, that's really strange. They're just standing there singing in this public place or they're just started to dance. But real quick, 2 or 3 other people join in the dance and they know the moves. So it's like, are we in a movie musical or was this already planned? And it really was already planned. And so it could be 10 people, it could be 40 people. They just all start to do the number. They all start to sing the song. Now that is a flash mob. And it makes sense because you're like, okay, they all know that they're doing it. But if you just see the one girl and she just starts singing and she's just singing and it's minute 3, you know, she's just still singing on her own. Okay, she might be really brave, but also she might be crazy. Why? Because she can't be a flash mob on her own. You and I can't just be Christians. You can know Jesus and you can live holy before him, but you can't really participate in New Testament Christianity unless you're doing it together. Can we hear that, somebody? That's why Paul says to the Ephesians, now you are no longer strangers to God and foreigners to heaven, but you are members of God's very own family, citizens of God's country, and you belong in God's household with every other Christian. Where do Jesus followers belong? in God's household with every other Christians. And this is where it gets dangerous, folks. This is where I like to encourage people, hey man, if you find yourself alone, something's going wrong here. All right, if you just got done with a play downtown, or you just got done with an awesome dinner, and you walk outside and you take 3 turns and you find yourself in this dark alley, I'm hopeful that something in you starts to say, something's wrong here, you need to get out of here pretty quick. Get to other people as fast as you possibly can. Because it's possible nothing will go wrong, but there could be critters, there could be villains behind any one of those garbage cans. You need to get safe. You need to get around other people. Check this out. My sweet flock, my little sheep, your spiritual enemy is trying to get you alone. He's trying to get you alone because when you're alone, you're easy to trick. When you're alone, you're easy to tempt. When you're alone, you're easy to talk into depressing things. Getting alone, there should be a little alarm in your Christian brain for the rest of your life. I am not safe alone. It's okay, like God will be with me. It's not that I can't make it through the day, but if I'm doing life alone, you are being set up. And we've got to pray, God, lead me into other people. So I'm back in the safety of your counsel through others. That's why, so at Fierce, we're just say, we're gonna commit to doing life together according to God's plan. When we're together, we're strong. When we're apart, when we sidestep togetherness, and we just keep doing it and keep doing it, keep doing it, we're embracing weakness rather than strength. That's why we say, you've heard it before, the best you is in community. What we mean is God's best plan for you and I is that we're around other people that make us better, that hold us accountable, that encourage us, that build us up in the things of God and the Word of God. And here's the reality, dude. When the stuff hits the fan, when the poo-poo of life hits the fan, okay, when you're alone, that's really hard, and you might not even be able to pull yourself out of it entirely. When you're with other people, your friends aren't Jesus, but they are often the pipeline Jesus' voice comes through. They're the ones who say, wait a minute. Let's talk about what's true here. Let's talk about, I know it's down, I know things are hard, but it's going up, right? God works everything together for your good. They're just people that are gonna surround you and help you not walk in that thing. You say, Carter, but I don't like the church. Okay, I feel you. Let's pretend that you were gonna come visit my house for 3 or 4 days. We're gonna have a great time, we're gonna do fun stuff. And you just let me know, by the way, I wanna hang out with you, but I don't want your wife to be around. I'm gonna be like, oh, is that so? You about to get hurt? I'm just telling you, you're about to get hurt right now. See, there's no me without my wife. There's no me without my bride. You don't get access to me if you don't want to hang with my bride as well. And Jesus is the same way. You might not like everything about his bride, and he knows what's wrong with her, but he's like, hey, don't diss my bride. She is mine, and I paid a lot of blood for her. She's on the way right now, okay? She's moving forward. Give her some time. Give her a break. I promise you, I will perfect her. He'll do so because it costs his own blood to do it. Now I know, guys, I'm not trying to pretend there's not real church hurt and not real church pain. We had an entire series last year called Church Pain. I know that that's real, and we need help sometimes to walk through that stuff, but I just want you to consider not everybody is the person who hurt you, and really most of the time, your healing is with the people of God. Okay, right? So if you had a really horrible marriage, and it was the worst disaster, you might say, I'm never marrying again. And that might be okay, that's fine. But it might be you'd be even more healed if you had a phenomenal spouse that just showed you, here's everything that was wrong before. In other words, we've got to see the right so we can understand what was wrong with the wrong. Are we hearing that? So God meant us to do life together, even though it's scary sometimes.